Well, good morning, friends. I hope you were all doing well. Happy New Year's Eve. Welcome back. I know we didn't really officially go away, but it was nice to have a little bit of downtime, and I am excited to get reacquainted with veggies and real food because all these breakouts, I just spent 4 days in Kentucky with my family, and I think they must outlaw vegetables there, something like that. Hey, Kath. Good morning. Before we get started, I just wanted to share with you a little bit of news. I found out this morning that Tina, one of our fellow coach leaders in here, her father passed away overnight. And I'm sharing that with you just to be sensitive if Tina is your coach. And for those of you who pray for her family, pray for her peace. Just be thinking about Tina. This is a tough time, and certainly not the way any of us want to start off the new year. I've got my cat who wants to say hello. So let's talk about today, and let's talk about willpower, and let's talk about the ability to use our brain. Okay, we talk so much in here. We call this group Reset Your Mindset, and it's so critical. It's not the food and the fitness really that make us healthy and strong. It's so much about what we think about what we're doing and how we show up in life, right? So we talk a lot about that, but today we're going to actually talk about the brain, because your mindset and your brain, two different things. It's really interesting how that works. But we talk about terms like prefrontal cortex. You may not understand what that is, and we don't have to get into neuroscience and transmitters and things like that. But if you just think about the prefrontal cortex is the part of the human brain that makes us different from animals. It gives us the logic, it gives us the ability to plan ahead and do things like that. The animal brain is kind of your lower brain. I always just kind of go frontal brain, lower brain. That's where habits are stored. That's where things are just super routine. Let me break it down for you. If you've ever learned how to brush your teeth, which hopefully all of us have, when you learn, I'm going to pretend that this is my toothbrush. When you're a child, your parent tells you how to hold the toothbrush, how to put the toothpaste on the toothbrush, how to go in circles. And we think really hard about that, right? And we practice it. And we think really hard about it and we practice it. And there actually is a little bit of a reward that your brain offers you. It's called dopamine. We talk about dopamine a little bit in here. I'm not going to go into that today, but dopamine is associated with pleasure, and there is a little bit of a pleasure reward when you're cleaning your teeth, believe it or not. Maybe you could share that with your kids. But here's what happens is that when you're brushing your teeth, you're practicing, right? Practicing, you get a little hit of reward. Your mouth feels great. You keep doing it. You practice it. Hit of reward. Your mouth feels great. Pretty soon, I don't think any of us think about, let me hold my toothbrush. Let me put my toothpaste on. Let me do circles. We just brush our teeth naturally. It just is part of our life. You could say the same thing about learning to drive a car. When you were 16, I know I was super stressed out. It was really difficult for me because I was like, 2 hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, looking around, making sure all that stuff. And now driving a car, I mean, let's be honest, most of us probably could text or Facebook or listen to the music, or we're not supposed to do that. Let me be clear. But you get the point. All of that goes from the prefrontal cortex, the learned part of your brain, into the habitual part of your brain. What does that have to do with anything? That has to do with how we treat food, how we interact with what we eat and what we drink. And I'll give you a scenario. That same prospect of taking something, learning something, practicing something, and getting a reward is the same when it comes to something like, let's just say, a cupcake or a glass of wine. And what happens is we have a circumstance like a stressful day at work, okay? And that triggers that thought when we come home that we need that. We need that little pleasure, that little thing, that cupcake, that glass of wine. And we know that once we have that, there is that reward. We feel great, we feel calm, we feel rewarded. My cat is trying to climb a chair. I need him to go away. So all of that system gets built in. So you practice that enough times and it becomes habitual. We don't often think about, why am I breaking off the corner of the chocolate bar? It's because we've trained our brain to do that. Well, here's the cool part about training our brain is that we can untrain our brain as well. But more importantly, what I really want to shift gears and talk about today is the ability of willpower. And I wasn't kidding when I said that over the break I was doing a lot of learning and a lot of training. But here is the difference in us and my cat, right? My cat does things, probably some things that are habitual. That's the animal brain, that's that lower brain. He knows how to go to the food bowl, he knows how to get water, he knows how to go to the litter box. Those are habitual, instinctual things. But the human brain, the ability to plan ahead, separates us from our cat. Hallelujah. But we have to use that ability so that we work in that position of power, that personal power. We always talk about in this group taking back our power. We are not powerless. We have power. That personal power happens in this prefrontal cortex. The animal brain, when we just default, we just go on autopilot, that is from a position of weakness when it comes to really important decisions. It's not a position of weakness when you're brushing your teeth. It's not a position of weakness when you're driving your car, but it could be a potential position of weakness when it comes to making food choices that trip you up, when it comes to making choices with alcohol that trip you up, when it comes to doing anything maybe that takes you away from being who you really want to be, over Netflixing, taking on that spirit of being overwhelmed, all of those things. So we want to learn how to convert from that animal brain back to a frontal cortex planning brain. Here's the kicker, okay? We have always heard about willpower, especially when it comes to the diet world. Just kind of the white knuckle it, just don't eat that cupcake. Don't drink. Don't do whatever. Don't fill in the blank with whatever that thing is for you. Just don't do it. And we resist. And that is such tension. And that is such dissonance in our own body. We feel, and all we do is obsess about it. I remember Amy Martin, when we first started this, she shared the story of her family did pizza night over and over. That was like their thing. Pizza night was their thing. It was super important for her family. And when she started the 2B mindset, she decided she wasn't going to participate in pizza night. And she thought about it and she kind of, I don't want to say obsessed, but like it really bothered her. She should have done pizza night. That was something that was fruitful for her. So willpower, white knuckling it, hanging on, trying to talk yourself out of something does not serve you. In fact, it's going to make you want that thing even more. Have you ever had that experience? Give me a hands up, thumbs up, a heart, drop me a 1 if that's ever happened to you. If you have been in that moment where you're like, I'm not going to eat a cupcake, I'm not going to eat a cupcake, I'm not going to eat a cupcake. Oh my gosh, they look amazing. I'm just going to have 1 cupcake. Has that ever happened to you? So that's willpower. That's white knuckling. Here's the thing about willpower. While we do have some, we have limited reserves of it. So if you think of it like a bank account, maybe you have 50 cents of willpower. Most of your willpower is used up. Cake and you have that relationship. I hear you, Priscilla. That willpower gets used up in the morning. Every single time you make a decision, you're using up part of your willpower bank. So you wake up and you figure out, am I going to work out today? Okay, I think I'll work out today. You're using up your willpower. You've made a decision to work out. Now you have to decide, what workout are you going to do? Are you going to go to the gym? Or are you going to dial it up on Beachbody On Demand? Now you've used up a few more portions of your willpower. After that workout, you have to think about, what am I going to eat? What am I going to do? What's my post-workout fuel going to be? Is it going to be a shake? What's going to go in my shake? How much of whatever is going to go in my shake? Am I going to drink my shake on the way to work? Like all these little decisions, even down to the point of, what am I going to wear during my workout? Am I going to wear this shirt? Am I going to wear something different? I know. Do you need a cat? Anybody need a cat? All of those little decisions chip away at your willpower. So here's the thing. While we do have willpower, by the end of the day, you have depleted all your resources, right? You have gone to work, you've taken care of your family, even on vacation, even on break, if you've been on a break, you are making decisions all day long. What am I going to do with my kids? What are we going to have for lunch? What kind of entertainment options are available? Are we going to get together with family? All of those things. So by the end of the day, when given an option of cupcake or not, glass of wine or not, fill in the blank or not, we are always going to default to that lower brain. Are y'all tracking with me? Does this make sense? We're going to resort to that animal brain. And what did we just say about the animal brain? That is not the position of power that we want to be in. We want to be fully alive, fully aware, fully present in our life. And I think what we can do, this is the part that I wanted to share today, is that when we harness that brain power, that prefrontal cortex, that ability to plan, and that ability to plan when we're fresh, things change, right? And Alana actually talks about this in a lot of her videos, just in a different way. So what I want you to think about is planning ahead, okay? And some of you might be thinking, oh gosh, she's gonna tell me to meal plan. Yes, kind of, but I want you to be thinking, even if you're not meal planning, even if you have more of a grazing concept or you've kind of figured out how you wanna work the 2B mindset for you, because you're allowed to do that. That's the beauty of this. You're figuring out what works for you. I want you to think about the things that might trip you up, okay? The things that might be holding you back from your goals. It's been hard, I know, during the holidays because there are treats and things everywhere. So, for example, if it's been processed food that's been tripping you up, if it's been chocolates and treats like candy that's been tripping you up, if it's been alcohol that's been tripping you up, I want you to do this. This is where the homework comes into play. I want you to decide what is important to you. Let's talk about for tonight. Now, ideally, this homework, I want you to start thinking like 24 hours in advance. And in the perfect world, I want you to think when you're actually thinking about your week coming up, I want you to say, Thursday night is going to be girls' night. I'm going to plan on having 2 or 3 glasses of wine or whatever your thing is. I'm going to have dessert at that favorite restaurant and I'm going to write it down. I'm going to plan on that because guess what happens? Prefrontal cortex, you have said, I'm going to have this and I'm going to have 1 slice of that cake or I'm going to have 1 glass of that wine or 2 glasses of that wine or whatever the thing is. You're not making the decision in the moment. Do you see the difference? So as we sit here on New Year's Eve, we're in the morning, we are fresh, we've just woken up, we've kind of got our act together. I don't know, you may not have plans tonight, but you might have plans tonight. I'm recording this. My little one's making fun of me now. That's awesome. I want you to think about right now where you're going tonight, who's going to be there, but I want you to think about what is important to you to have. Is it that glass of champagne when you're toasting? Is it, I know the holidays are when people make the famous whatever their thing is, their signature treat. Grandma's apple pie. Just not thinking well this morning on desserts, but let's just say that's the thing. That is the thing. Are you going to have 1 slice of grandma's apple pie? Are you going to have 2 slices of grandma's apple pie? Are you going to have grandma's apple pie with ice cream? What are you going to do for tonight? And I want you to write it down. You can comment below on what that's going to be for you, but here's the thing. This is the power. We already talked about willpower being depleted, but what I would offer to you is that when you make these decisions, your higher brain hears you. It wants, remember we've talked about that in mindset. It says, as you wish. Your prefrontal cortex says, okay, you've made a plan. We're going to stick to that plan. We're a team. Fist bump. I'm going to help you only have that 1 cupcake, and that 1 cupcake is going to be amazing, and you're going to be enjoying that cupcake with your friends or whatever the treat is. That 1 glass of champagne is going to be amazing, and you're going to have that 1 glass and you're going to feel full and satisfied, and you're not going to want more. Because that plan, that prefrontal cortex, that higher brain plan is what serves you. That's the position of power. If we don't decide right now for what we're doing tonight, you know what happens? Because I've been there. You go to the party and you're like, oh my gosh, this food looks amazing, amazing. Sure, I'll have a glass of wine. Refill? Absolutely, why not? And before you know it, you've had half the buffet, 6 cupcakes, and 7 glasses of wine. Okay, maybe I haven't been that person, but you know what I mean. That is when we let the animal brain take over, because just like when we were talking about brushing your teeth, it is a learned behavior. It is practiced over time and it's rewarded. When we have things like treats and alcohol and things that are really concentrated pleasures, Netflix binges, that kind of thing, that is animal behavior, right? Like that's learned behavior. We get a huge reward from it and we don't even think about it. It's that lower brain. We want to bring those decisions up here, okay? All right, did that all make sense? So many treats, brain power, special family dinner with seafood. Oh, that's awesome. More veggies, yes, and decide that now. I had a conversation with a neighbor of mine. She's having a Halloween. Oh my gosh, y'all. I haven't had the coffee. The coffee is here. It just hasn't gone in the body yet. She's having a New Year's Eve event tonight. And I asked her what was on the menu and what could I help bring. And she asked for a specific little sandwich that I've made before. But I said I'd be happy to bring fruit and veggies too. So that's where like you get to, oh my gosh, it's gonna tear up the chair. You get to decide, you get to employ that cognitive brain, that prefrontal cortex, use that human capability to plan. And then you know what's so much fun is that when you start to think about how you're gonna feel the next day, how you're gonna feel tomorrow, because you have rocked out some amazing choices and you've had a great time, because why are you at the party? You're at the party because you're there for the relationships. You're there to be thinking about a new year. You're there to be just surrounded by people you love. It's not about the food, but when we decide to take part of something that is awesome, it's a treat, I want you to enjoy that. So I'm gonna wrap this up. If you have any questions about this, let me know. And we'll talk more about dopamine because it is really important, just not today. It's a little early. But I want you to comment below. Catherine already did. Share with us what treat or plan you have for tonight, maybe even just what you're doing for tonight. And let's talk about how to continually look forward and plan ahead for things that will serve us well from our higher brain. We have such power up here. Isn't that cool? It's amazing. So anyway, happy New Year's Eve. I can't wait to walk through the new year with all of you. It's going to be amazing. Love you guys.